Damascus, the ancient heart of Syria, has fallen. This city, with its rich history and cultural significance, now lies in the hands of the rebels. Rebels claim control of the city. The streets are filled with celebrations, flags waving high and chants of victory echoing through the air. Bashar al-Assad, once seemingly invincible, is gone. His stern visage, once a symbol of power, now a reminder of a regime that has crumbled. Reports suggest he fled the country. Under the cover of darkness, a private jet whisked him away, leaving behind a nation in turmoil. 2 senior Syrian officers confirmed Assad's departure from Damascus. His destination remains unknown, shrouded in mystery and speculation. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported Assad leaving via Damascus airport, the once bustling terminal now a silent witness to his escape. This was just before security forces abandoned their posts. These reports are unverified, but the deserted checkpoints tell a story of their own. However, the speed of the rebel advance and the collapse of the regime are undeniable. The swift takeover has left the world in shock. The Assad dynasty, which has ruled Syria with an iron fist for over 5 decades, appears to be over. The legacy of Hafez and Bashar al-Assad now lies in ruins. The fall of Damascus is a seismic event in the Middle East. The city, once a beacon of stability, now a symbol of change and uncertainty. This event will have significant implications for the region and the world. Analysts are already debating the potential shifts in power dynamics. The Assad regime, known for its brutality and repression, leaves behind a deeply fractured country. The scars of conflict are visible everywhere. Years of civil war have devastated Syria. The once vibrant cities now lie in ruins, a testament to the relentless violence. Hundreds of thousands are dead, millions are displaced. The humanitarian crisis is staggering, with countless lives uprooted. The country is in ruins, the infrastructure is shattered, and the path to recovery seems long and arduous. The future is uncertain, but the Syrian people, who have endured so much, now have a chance to shape their own destiny. Amid the rubble, there is hope for a new beginning. To understand the significance of this moment, we must delve into the deep and complex history of the Assad regime in Syria. The story begins with Hafez al-Assad, a military man who rose through the ranks to become a pivotal figure in Syrian politics. In 1971, Hafez al-Assad, Bashar's father, seized power in a coup, marking the beginning of a new era. He established a one-party state under the rule of the Ba'ath Party, consolidating his power and control over the nation. This regime was characterized by its authoritarian nature, ruthlessly suppressing any form of dissent, and maintaining a tight grip on the populace. Hafez al-Assad died in 2000, leaving behind a legacy of fear and control. His son Bashar assumed the presidency, inheriting a system built on fear and control, and the expectations of continuing his father's legacy. Bashar al-Assad, a British-trained ophthalmologist, initially promised reform and modernization, raising hopes among the Syrian people. However, he quickly proved to be a chip off the old block, maintaining the same oppressive tactics as his father. He maintained the vast security apparatus, ensuring that any opposition was swiftly and brutally dealt with. He continued the suppression of basic freedoms, stifling any attempts at political or social reform. The Assad regime became synonymous with human rights abuses, torture, and disappearances, casting a long shadow over the nation. Thousands of Syrians vanished into the regime's notorious prisons. Many never emerged, leaving families in a perpetual state of grief and uncertainty. The Arab Spring of 2011, a wave of pro-democracy uprisings across the Arab world, ignited long-simmering discontent within Syria. Inspired by their Tunisian and Egyptian counterparts, Syrians took to the streets demanding political freedom and an end to corruption. These initial protests were met with brutal force. The regime responded with live ammunition, tear gas, and mass arrests. The regime's crackdown backfired. It only fueled the flames of resistance. Peaceful protests morphed into armed rebellion. The country descended into a brutal civil war. What began as a popular uprising against an oppressive regime quickly became a complex and multifaceted conflict. Section 4, International Dimensions, Fueling the Fire. The Syrian Civil War, which began in 2011, quickly escalated into a complex and multifaceted proxy war. External actors, each with their own agendas and interests, poured weapons, money, and fighters into the country, further complicating the situation. Russia, a longtime ally of the Assad regime, intervened militarily in 2015, launching airstrikes and deploying troops. Their air power proved decisive in turning the tide of the war in Assad's favor. allowing government forces to regain lost territory. Iran, another key ally, provided ground troops, military advisors, and significant financial support to bolster Assad's regime. On the other side, the United States, Turkey, and Gulf Arab states provided varying levels of support to different rebel groups, each with their own strategic goals. This internationalization of the conflict had devastating consequences for the Syrian people, leading to immense suffering and displacement. It prolonged the war, fueled sectarianism, and hampered efforts to find a political solution, making peace seem ever more elusive. The conflict became a tangled web of alliances and rivalries with no easy solutions in sight, leaving the future of Syria uncertain and fraught with challenges. Section 5. The Tide Turns, a Swift Offensive. The recent rebel offensive, spearheaded by a coalition of Islamist militant insurgents, caught the regime off guard. Starting from a small enclave in northwestern Syria, the rebels advanced rapidly, capitalizing on the regime's overstretched and demoralized forces. Within 11 days they had swept across the country, capturing key cities and strategic strongholds. The rebels' success can be attributed to a number of factors. Years of relentless warfare had taken a toll on the Syrian army. Many units were depleted and demoralized. The regime's reliance on foreign fighters, particularly Shiite militias from Iraq and Lebanon, further eroded morale. The rebels, on the other hand, appeared more unified and determined than ever before. They exploited weaknesses in the regime's defenses. Section 6. Scenes of Jubilation and Uncertainty. As the rebels captured more territory, scenes of jubilation erupted across the liberated areas. People took to the streets, celebrating the end of years of oppression. However, this newfound freedom came with a sense of uncertainty. With the regime's forces in retreat, there was a power vacuum. Different rebel factions vied for control, and the threat of infighting loomed large. The civilian population, caught in the middle, faced an uncertain future. Their hopes for peace and stability were tempered by the harsh realities of war. Section 7. Navigating a Fragile Future. With the regime weakened and the rebels in control of significant territory, the future of Syria remained fragile. International actors continued to play a significant role, each pursuing their own interests. Efforts to broker a political solution were met with skepticism and resistance. The humanitarian crisis persisted, with millions of Syrians displaced and in need of aid. The path to lasting peace and reconstruction was fraught with challenges, yet amidst the uncertainty, there remained a glimmer of hope. The resilience and determination of the Syrian people offered a beacon of light in the darkest of times.